There is a strength in this world that is often misunderstood. It doesn't roar. It doesn't fight to be heard. It doesn't demand applause, but it changes everything it touches. That strength is love. People often ask, why should I keep loving when all I get in return is pain? And I smile, not because pain is easy, but because I've learned something deeper. Love doesn't make you fragile. Love makes you unbreakable. The world may tell you that love is weakness, that it makes you vulnerable. But what they forget to say is, vulnerability is the birthplace of connection, of healing, of courage. You are not losing when you choose love. You are rising above. There were moments when I felt abandoned, unseen, forgotten. And in those moments, I had a choice, build walls or keep my heart open. And every time I chose love, something beautiful happened, not outside, but within me. Because love is not about being loved back. Love is about being who you are. And who you are is light. You will meet people who take advantage of your kindness. You will be hurt by those you trusted the most. And yet, love anyway, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Love isn't just about others. It's also about how you treat yourself. Talk to yourself with kindness. Forgive yourself. Be patient with your growth. That's love too. Be patient, and it's the kind that stays when everything else fades. Even when no one sees your love, even when the world misjudges your gentleness as weakness, keep going, keep loving, because love always wins, not in loud victories, not in perfect endings, but in the quiet moments when you choose to be better, not bitter, when you choose to rise, not retaliate, when you choose to love, even when it's hard. That is the real win, and that is who you are. In a world that constantly pushes us to be tough, to build walls around our emotions, to wear masks that hide our vulnerabilities, love can feel like rebellion. We taught that strength is about silence, that power means being unaffected, that survival means never showing what hurts. And in that race to appear strong, somewhere along the line, love got labeled as weak. But the truth, the raw, unfiltered, unshakable truth, is that love is not weakness. It is your superpower, because anyone can be cold. Anyone can be cold. Anyone can walk away. Anyone can shut their heart and protect their pride. But it takes true courage to stay open. It takes unmatched strength to keep your heart soft in a world that tries to harden you. To love when it's easier to be indifferent. To forgive when your soul aches for revenge. To extend kindness when you've been met with cruelty. That is power. Love is not the easy way. It is not the path of least resistance. It is the boldest path you can take. It demands everything from you, your patience, your presence, your vulnerability, your truth. And yet, in giving all of that, you're not left empty. You're left because love doesn't deplete you, it deepens you. It grows your soul in places that pain cannot reach. There will be days when your love is unappreciated. There will be people who won't know what to do with the beauty you bring into their life. And in those moments, the world will try to convince you to stop, to change, to be colder, tougher, more distant. But don't. Please don't. You were not made to be small. You were not created to be closed. You were not built for bitterness. You were born to expand, to feel deeply, to heal through connection, to build bridges where others burn them. And that is what love allows you to do. That is what makes it your superpower. Real love, whether it's for others, for yourself, for life, it transcends fear. It outlasts wounds. And it transforms silence into understanding and turns loneliness into belonging. Love can mend what logic breaks. It sees what the eyes can't, speaks what words fail to say, and holds us together when the world around us falls apart. There is nothing soft about choosing to love. In fact, love often asks you to stand in fire and still offer warmth. It demands that you rise above your own pain to comfort someone else. It dares you to hold out your hand even when it's been slapped away. That kind of love, that resilient, unconditional, unshakable love is the most powerful force on earth. So no, love is not weakness. Weakness is choosing apathy because feeling is hard. Weakness is giving up on people because healing takes time. Weakness is settling for silence because truth feels too loud. But love is waking up every morning with a heart that still believes in goodness, in humanity, in the power of kindness, even when you have every reason to give up. That's not weakness, that's warrior level strength. To love is to hope. To love is to try again. To love is to walk into the unknown, fully aware that you might get hurt, but also knowing you might find something beautiful. Love doesn't guarantee safety, but it guarantees growth. And it's in that growth, in that stretch of the soul, that we find who we truly are. So let the world call it what they will. Let them misunderstand your softness. Let them mistake your gentleness for naivete. Let them question your kindness and your tears and your openness. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify, because deep down you know love is not your flaw. It's your gift. You don't need to build walls to prove you're strong. You just need to stay true to your heart. That heart, the one that still feels, still forgives, still shows up, is your greatest source of power. That heart is a light in dark places. That heart is what makes you unstoppable. And no matter what this world throws at you, when you lead with love, you always rise. You always heal. You always win. Because love never fails, and neither will you. Pain has a way of changing us. It arrives uninvited, often unexpected, and never gentle. It comes like a storm, tearing through the heart, uprooting certainty, breaking pieces of us we thought were unshakable. And in its wake, it leaves a question that only we can answer. Who will I become now? Because pain doesn't just hurt, it reshapes. It carves deep into our being, and we get to choose what fills the space it leaves behind. Some fill it with resentment, others fill it with understanding. Some shut down, and others open wider. It's not the pain itself that defines us, it's what we do with it. Pain can make you bitter, or it can make you kinder. And that choice, though quiet and unseen by most, will determine the kind of life you live and the love you give. When someone you trust betrays you, your instinct is to protect yourself. You build walls, wear masks, tell yourself not to care. And little by little, bitterness sneaks in, not because you're a bad person, but because it feels safer than vulnerability. But what if, instead of closing off, you opened more? What if you use that pain to understand others more deeply, to see the invisible wounds they carry, to be softer because you know what it feels like to break? It's not easy. No one talks about how hard it is to stay kind when the world gives you every reason to be cruel. No one applauds you for choosing compassion when anger would be justified. But that silent strength, the decision to let pain soften you instead of harden you, that is where real transformation begins. Pain teaches you things comfort never could. It shows you what really matters. It removes the noise and reveals the core of who you are. When you go through hardship and still choose to love, you become someone the world desperately needs. You're not perfect, not untouched, but real, raw, brave, human. Some of the kindest souls you will ever meet have suffered the most. Not because suffering is beautiful, but because it gave them depth. It taught them how to sit with someone else's sorrow without trying to fix it. It taught them how to listen without judgment, how to care without condition. Their kindness isn't naive. It's earned. It's forged in fire. When you choose love in the face of loss, you defy bitterness. When you respond with empathy instead of revenge, you reclaim your power. You say to the world, you cannot take my light. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Enba. Your pain becomes a bridge instead of a barrier. It becomes a tool for connection, not division. There is no shame in hurting. There is no weakness in breaking down. But what defines your healing is what rises after the fall. If your heart becomes harder, the pain has. But if your heart becomes wider, more generous, more forgiving, then you have taken something meant to destroy you and turned it into something beautiful. That is strength. You may carry scars, but those scars are not symbols of defeat. They are reminders that you survived. And not only did you survive, you loved again, you tried again, you believed again. That is where courage lives. Choosing kindness after pain is not pretending everything is okay. It's not forcing a smile or ignoring the ache inside. It's about saying, yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've cried. Yes, I've cried. Yes, I've been through darkness. And yet here I am, still choosing to shine. It's one of the most powerful things a person can do. To turn pain into compassion. To turn wounds into wisdom. To turn sorrow into service. Not because you have to, but because you can. It is you. And in doing so, you prove to yourself that you are more than what happened to you. When you allow pain to teach instead of torment, it becomes a guide. It makes you more honest, more present, more human. You stop pretending, you stop hiding, and you start becoming fully, wholly, unapologetically the person you were always meant to be. So let the pain come, let it break you open if it must, but don't let it close your heart. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you kinder. Let it teach you to love deeper, to hug longer, to speak gentler, to forgive quicker. Because kindness born from pain is the purest kind. And when you share that with the world, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing others too. Love is beautiful when everything is going well. When people are kind, when life feels gentle, when the sun is shining and hearts are full, Love flows easily. In those moments, it feels effortless to give, to care, to show up for the people around us. But love isn't truly tested in the light, it's tested in the dark. In the spaces where we feel abandoned, betrayed, or deeply disappointed. In those places of silence and ache, when our hearts are tender and tired, that's when love becomes a choice, not just a feeling. The true test of love is not how we respond when everything is good. It's how we choose to respond when everything is falling apart. It's in the moment when someone says something that cuts you deeply, and instead of lashing out, you pause, you breathe, you choose compassion over revenge. Over revenge. Not because it's easy, not because it doesn't hurt, but because you know that what you give in love says more about you than what others do to you. That's not weakness, that's power. There will be times when your heart feels shattered, times when someone you trusted breaks that trust. Times when you feel invisible in a world that seems to only notice noise, not love. And in those moments, bitterness will call your name. Anger will feel like a shield. And shutting down will seem like the only way to protect what's left of you. But love, real love, asks you to remain open. It asks you to see beyond the wound and choose not to mirror the pain that was given to you. That's not to say you should allow people to walk over your heart. Loving doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or staying silent when you're hurting. Loving means responding with truth, with dignity, with kindness, even when the world gives you 100 reasons not to. It means setting boundaries, not building walls. It means forgiving, not because they always deserve it, but because your peace does. Choosing love when it hurts is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's also the thing that will keep your soul alive. When life pushes you into moments of loneliness, confusion, or grief, choosing love isn't about ignoring those feelings. It's about holding space for them and still deciding that those feelings won't define who you become. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to fall apart. But even as you gather the broken pieces, know that there is strength in how you rebuild. And when you rebuild with love, with patience, with kindness, with grace, you become something stronger, softer, and infinitely more powerful. Sometimes, the people who hurt you are the ones who are hurting most. Sometimes, those who walk away are lost within themselves. And while you don't need to carry their pain, you also don't have to carry hate. When you choose to love despite the pain, you free yourself from becoming what wounded you. You don't choose love because it's logical. You choose it because it's healing. You choose it because your soul was made for connection, not division. You choose it because even in the darkness, love has the power to bring light, not only to others, but to yourself, especially to yourself. There will be days when your heart feels tired, days when you give love and get silence in return, days when it feels like your kindness goes unnoticed, and still you choose to love, not because it always makes sense, but because it always matters. Love is not about keeping score. Love is about staying true to who you are. No matter what the world throws away, you won't always get it right. There will be moments when anger wins, when the pain is louder than your peace. But every time you come back to love, every time you soften when you could harden, you're growing. You're growing. You're healing. You're rising. And that rise, that is everything. Because one day, someone will feel the warmth of your love on their coldest day. One day, your kindness will be the reason someone believes in good again. One day, your choice to love, even through your own hurt, will be someone else's reminder that the world still holds hope. So even when it hurts, choose to love. Not because it's easy, not because it doesn't break you sometimes, but because it's the only thing powerful enough to build something beautiful from the ashes. And in that choice, you become more than the pain. You become the healing. There is a quiet kind of power in being kind. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause. It simply shows up in small acts, in gentle words, in the moments when no one is watching. Kindness doesn't need recognition to exist. It doesn't need a stage to make a difference. And yet, its impact is more lasting than we can ever measure. Because when you lead with love, when you give with no expectation of return, you create ripples that move far beyond what your eyes can see. You plant seeds that grow in places your feet may never touch. What you give in love will return to you. Maybe not right away, and maybe not from the person you gave it to, but always in a way that matters. Because kindness has a way of finding its way back. It travels across time and through people. It makes its way into moments you least expect, reminding you that no good deed is ever wasted. Sometimes life will test that belief. You'll pour love into people who don't know how to receive it. You'll offer help and be met with silence. You'll be kind in places where cruelty is the norm and you might wonder if it even matters, but I promise you it does. Every time you choose to be kind, you are making the world softer. Every time you respond with grace instead of anger, you are breaking a cycle. Every time you extend a hand instead of turning away, you are creating a new legacy, one of love, one of hope. We don't always get to see the full circle. Sometimes the kindness you give shows up years later as unexpected comfort in a hard season. Sometimes it returns as the smile of a stranger when you need it most. Sometimes it echoes through someone else's life in ways you'll never know. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't need to be traced to be true. Kindness is never wasted. Love is never lost. You see, we live in a world that often celebrates what's big, what's loud, what's fast. But legacy isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in the quiet moments. The hug you gave someone who was silently breaking. The text you sent that arrived just when they needed it. The moment you chose patience over frustration, forgiveness over pride. These are the moments that linger. These are the things people remember when they're alone, when they're hurting, when they're searching for hope. You may never know how much your kindness meant to someone, but that doesn't make it any less powerful. You may never hear the words of thank you, but that doesn't mean your love went unnoticed. And when we choose to be that light, we don't just brighten someone else's path, we light our own too. Kindness has a way of healing, not just others but ourselves. When you love freely, you shed the weight of resentment. When you act with compassion, you connect with what is real and raw and meaningful. You begin to realize that the legacy you leave isn't built by wealth or status. It's built by how you made people feel. It's in the laughter you shared, the grace you offered, the truth you lived, suffered. And here's what's most powerful. Your legacy can begin now, not someday, not when everything is perfect. Right now, in the middle of your mess, in the midst of your own struggles, you can choose to love. You can choose to be kind, even when life hasn't been kind to you. And that is what makes it real. That is what makes it real. That is what makes it sacred. Your kindness might not change the whole world at once, but it can change one person's world in a moment. And sometimes that's all it takes. One act, one word, one open heart. That's how legacies are born, not in monuments, but in memories. Not in achievements, but in how you made someone feel seen, heard, and loved. So don't wait for the right moment to be kind. Don't hold back your love because you fear it won't be returned. Give it anyway. Share it anyway. Because it's not about the return. It's about the release. What you send into the world becomes part of the world. And what a beautiful world it becomes when we all decide to leave something gentle behind. Let your kindness outlive you. Let your love echo beyond your time here. Let your presence remind others that good still exists, that light still shines, and that no act of love is ever too small. That is the legacy that never fades.